My fiance's family told me I was too poor to marry him. They literally called me garbage and had me laughed right out of their mansion. So I found the perfect way to get even. I married their next-door neighbor, who just so happens to be a billionaire. This is the story of how every family holiday turned into my own personal revenge party. Before we get into it, if you've ever been made to feel small or been completely underestimated, hit that subscribe button. This story is for you. My life with Liam DeLuca was supposed to be a fairy tale. Not the Castellan Prince kind, but a real one, built on rainy Sunday mornings, inside jokes, and the idea that we were a team building our future together. I was a librarian. My world smelled like old paper and was built on quiet, dusty aisles. I lived in a tiny, cozy apartment that had way more books than furniture. And honestly, I was happy. Liam was a junior associate at his dad's investment firm, a completely different universe from mine. But that never seemed to matter. He loved my little apartment, saying it felt more real than his parents' sprawling, sterile mansion in Greenwich. He loved that I could quote poetry but couldn't tell a stock from a bond. He'd hold my hand and tell me I was the most genuine person he knew. We planned a future in a normal house, maybe with a garden for me and a workshop for him. He was supposed to be different. Our love was supposed to be the one thing money couldn't touch. I actually believed him. That was my first mistake. When the dinner invitation to his family's estate arrived, I thought, this is it. The final seal of approval. Liam promised me, they're going to love you as much as I do. I spent a week's salary on a simple, elegant dress because I wanted so badly to make a good impression. But from the moment my humble, decade-old car crunched onto the driveway of the DeLuca mansion, I felt like an imposter. The dinner was a masterclass in quiet cruelty. Every question was just a thinly veiled insult. A librarian, how quaint. Is that fulfilling for you? His mother, Eleanor, asked, her voice just dripping with condescension. His father just stared at me over his wine glass like I was an exhibit at the zoo. The evening's grand finale came with dessert. Eleanor set her fork down with a delicate little clink that sounded like a judge's gavel. Liam, darling, she said, not even looking at me. We need to be realistic. A man in your position needs a partner who can contribute, someone from our world. Liam just shifted in his seat. Mom, I love her. Eleanor finally turned her icy gaze on me. Love is a wonderful feeling, dear. But it doesn't pay for the upkeep on a house in this neighborhood. It doesn't secure a legacy. She let out this short, sharp laugh I will never forget. I'm sure you're a sweet girl. But you are, to be blunt, garbage. You're nothing. Your background would only cheapen our family name. She just waved her hand dismissively. I'd never let my son throw his life away on someone so poor. I looked at Liam, my heart just shattering, waiting for him to say something. To defend me, to defend us, but he just sat there, staring at his plate. His silence was a louder betrayal than anything she had said. A moment later, I was being escorted out, tears streaming down my face with their laughter echoing behind me. That night, Liam broke up with me in a text message. His excuse, it's just too complicated. The next few weeks were a total blur of humiliation and heartbreak. I felt worthless, like Eleanor DeLuca had personally reached into my chest and snuffed out my light. I even quit my job because I couldn't bear to face the kind regulars who knew and loved Liam. I found a tiny apartment on the edge of town, a place where I could just hide. Then one afternoon, I ended up in the one place that always felt like a sanctuary, a dusty old bookshop downtown. I was just running my fingers over the spines of some old books when a deep, calm voice next to me said, "That's a first edition." A pretty rare find. I turned and saw a man who looked like he'd walked right out of a classic movie. He was a bit older, with kind eyes and silver hair, and he was wearing a simple but perfectly tailored suit. We started talking first about books, then about art, then about life. He never asked what I did or where I was from. He was just interested in what I thought. He introduced himself as Arthur Sterling. We met for coffee the next day and the day after that. I learned he lived a quiet life after retiring from some high-stakes business world I couldn't even wrap my head around. He was brilliant, he was gentle, and he looked at me like I was the most fascinating person he'd ever met. He told me he lived in Greenwich, and when he finally gave me the address, I almost choked on my coffee. He was the DeLuca's next-door neighbor, the reclusive, almost mythical billionaire they were always trying to impress. And in that moment, something new started bubbling up through the despair: determination. Arthur saw value in me when I felt I had none. The DeLucas had judged me by the size of my bank account. And a plan so perfect and beautiful in its simplicity started to click into place. My relationship with Arthur wasn't some crazy whirlwind romance. It was a slow, beautiful burn. He valued my mind and my heart, not where I came from. He took me to museums, not galas. He introduced me to his world not as a trophy, but as his partner. So when he proposed 6 months later, on a quiet night in his incredible library, my yes wasn't for revenge. It was for the genuine love and respect he'd given me. The revenge was just going to be a really satisfying bonus. We got married in a small, private ceremony. As a wedding gift, Arthur gave me a stunning diamond necklace he called the Star of the Atlantic. I found out later it was worth more than the entire DeLuca estate. As I put it on, I couldn't help but smile. It felt like armor. I didn't have to wait long. An invitation arrived, embossed with the DeLuca family crest, for their annual summer charity ball, the biggest event on their social calendar. My heart started pounding as I held the thick cardstock. It was time. I RSVP'd for 2. We made sure to arrive fashionably late. The second I stepped out of Arthur's Rolls-Royce, the murmurs started. I was in a custom gown, and the Star of the Atlantic was glittering at my throat, catching the light and the eye of every single guest. I linked my arm with my husband's, the legendary Arthur Sterling, and we walked right into the party. The moment the DeLucas saw us, it felt like the whole world stopped. Liam's father actually dropped his champagne glass. Liam himself went ghost white, but the best part, Eleanor. Her perfectly made-up face just froze into a mask of pure, unfiltered shock. Her jaw literally dropped. She just stood there staring, her eyes darting from me to Arthur, to the priceless necklace around my neck, the cruel, calculating gears in her mind just grinding to a halt. She tried to recover, plastering on her hostess smile as she glided over. "Arthur," she gushed, completely ignoring me. "We are so honored to have you, and you've brought a guest." Arthur's grip on my arm tightened just a little. "Eleanor," he said, his voice perfectly calm and firm, "I'd like to introduce you to my wife." The word wife just hung there in the air, electric. Eleanor's smile completely vanished. She looked at me, really looked at me this time, and I could see the horror dawning in her eyes. "Your wife," "Yes," I said, giving her the biggest, sweetest smile I could manage. "It's so lovely to see you again. You know, I don't think I ever thanked you. If it wasn't for your very direct advice, I might never have ended up so happy." Her face went from shock to a deep, splotchy red. She was totally speechless. Later that night, Arthur was invited on stage. He talked about philanthropy and community, and then he turned to me. "But my greatest acquisition, my most priceless treasure," he said, his voice echoing through the now-silent ballroom as he looked right at me, "is my brilliant wife. A woman whose worth can't be measured in dollars, but in her intelligence, her kindness, and her integrity." The room erupted in applause. All eyes on me. I glanced over at the DeLuca table. They were just frozen, publicly humiliated in front of everyone whose opinion they cared about. Eleanor looked like she was about to faint. It was perfect. My life now is better than any fairy tale, not because of the money, but because I'm loved for exactly who I am. We travel, we support causes we care about, and we spend most nights just reading together in the library. The revenge isn't a one-time thing, it's my life now. Every holiday, every neighborhood event, it's just another little turn of the knife with a power couple of Greenwich. The DeLucas have to sit back and watch me live the life they thought was reserved for them. They have to smile and make polite small talk with the woman their matriarch once called garbage. Liam has tried to reach out, sending these desperate, rambling emails. I never reply. He made his choice in the silence of that dining room. In the end, they taught me the most valuable lesson of all. My worth was never up to them. It was always mine. They thought they could break me, but all they did was show me how strong I really was. True wealth isn't about money. It's about respecting yourself and never letting anyone else decide what you're worth. So, what do you think? What would you have done? Let me know in the comments. And if you loved this story, don't forget to like and subscribe, and maybe share it with someone who needs a reminder of their own value.